This is CBN NewsWatch.
Thanks for joining us for this first edition of CBN NewsWatch for Tuesday, July 2nd. I'm Mark Martin. Today, President Trump signs a bill to help migrants amid conflicting accounts of what's really happening on the border with Mexico. Iran moves ahead toward building nuclear weapons. We have reaction from President Trump and from Israel. A Ten Commandments monument is taken down at an Ohio middle school after standing for more than 90 years. And what you may be doing that's hurting your health without even realizing it. Those stories and more today on NewsWatch. We begin with President Trump signing a $4.6 billion humanitarian aid package Monday to assist migrants held at the border. This as congressional Democrats claim detainees are living in inhumane and toxic conditions after touring 2 detention centers in Texas. They say women are sharing cramped cells, sleeping on floors, and going without showers and necessary medication. Church leaders who recently toured one of those facilities are telling a different story. Reverend Samuel Rodriguez of the National Hispanic Christian Leadership Conference visited a center in El Paso County, Texas, with several other pastors. He told reporters, "To my surprise, I saw something drastically different from the stories I've been hearing in our national discourse." The El Paso County Center came under fire after immigration attorneys claimed children kept there were dirty, hungry, and scared. Rodriguez, who is a member of President Trump's Faith Advisory Council, said they saw no such conditions at that center and that he pressed authorities on whether conditions were changed after the media reports, and they said the conditions were the same. Iran is enriching uranium at a faster pace and getting enough material to make a nuclear weapon. President Trump says the Islamic country is, quote, playing with fire. Dale Hurd has that story.
Iran admitted it exceeded the limit set on its stockpile of low-enriched uranium in the 2015 nuclear deal. CBN News chief international correspondent Gary Lane said what's more important is that Iran is continuing its enrichment program.
The genie is now out of the bottle. It's not as significant that they violated slightly the stockpile numbers. What is significant is now they are on this road to uranium enrichment that may reach dangerous levels. Right now they're at 3.67%. If they get up to 20% or beyond that, that's enough for a nuclear bomb.
The move comes a year after President Trump pulled the U.S. out of the deal. He was asked if he has a message for Iran.
No message to Iran. They know what they're doing. They know what they're playing with, and I think they're playing with fire. So no message to Iran whatsoever.
Appearing on Fox News' Tucker Carlson, Trump said he hopes Iran will eventually come to the bargaining table.
But we can't let Iran have a nuclear weapon. So they're having a lot of difficulty in their country right now, and hopefully at some point they'll come back and they'll say, we're going to make a deal. We'll see what happens.
Iran's foreign minister expressing his exasperation over a White House statement that even before the deal's existence, Iran was violating its terms, tweeted, "Seriously?" Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said, "Israel will not allow Iran to develop nuclear weapons. Today, I also call on all European states. Stand by your commitments. You committed to act the moment Iran violated the nuclear agreement. You committed to reinstate the automatic sanctions regime that was agreed upon in the Security Council. So I tell you, do so. Go do it."
Do it. Just do it.
And while President Trump has signaled he'd like to make a deal with the Iranians, Iran has shown no sign it wants to negotiate. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
In other news, last week's debates apparently shifted the Democratic race for the presidency. According to a new CNN poll, former Vice President Joe Biden still leads, but he fell dramatically with just 22%. That's a 10-point drop. California Senator Kamala Harris jumped 9 points into second with 17%, while Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren moved up 8 points to third to 15%, and Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders fell to fourth at 14%. A Ten Commandments plaque dating back to the 1920s has been removed from an Ohio middle school. This plaque has been on display at Welty Middle School in New Philadelphia for 92 years. That is until the Freedom from Religion Foundation demanded that it be taken down. The atheist group claims the plaque was a, quote, flagrant violation of the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment. The school says although they do not agree with the Freedom from Religion Foundation, they will not fight the group in court. A road project is underway in Jerusalem, but it's not about easing traffic jams. Archaeologists are opening the ancient road that Jewish worshipers would have climbed on their way to the temple 2,000 years ago. CBN Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell brings us that story.
U.S. Ambassador to Israel David Friedman broke through a symbolic wall onto the pilgrimage path.
But were there ever any doubt about the accuracy, the wisdom, the propriety of President Trump recognizing Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, I certainly think this lays all doubts to rest.
Within a few months, visitors will be able to walk all the way from the Pool of Siloam up to here, the halfway point on the pilgrimage road.
We have thousands and thousands of finds here that have been made by Israel Antiquities Authority archaeologists. You see the flagstones of the road, you find them here at the pool, and you see the exact same flagstones at the end near the Temple Mount itself. And if you look, it's the same designer, the same cut, shape, and design. It's one construction project.
And to those who observe the Christian faith, to feel the steps of Jesus as he walked as a Jewish pilgrim, as he ascended to the temple, his visits, of course, to the temple, well known and well documented. It is an intact, living, breathing piece of history that every one of us has the opportunity to experience for ourselves.
Ze'ev Orenstein of the City of David Foundation says a key part of this discovery is its authenticity.
Everything that we have here is original. Where we find the road, you see the road. In the areas where there's destruction, that's what you see. And then when you find the road again, that's what there is. The idea is to preserve the ancient pilgrimage road as authentically as possible.
That will give visitors a chance to taste what life was like in the time of the Bible. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, the pilgrimage path, the City of David.
Fascinating story. Well, coming up, how the Army Corps of Engineers has worked to upgrade an important dam to prevent a major flood that could threaten 1 million lives in California.
Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary. Or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.
It has the power to influence weight loss, boost your immune system, and improve brain function.
We've seen an explosion of data on the role of the gut microbiome in health.
The free Build a Better Gut booklet reveals the latest information about the gut microbiome. You'll discover how your gut affects the rest of your health.
The gut microbiome has been linked to depression and cancer and heart disease.
Learn how to build a stronger, healthier gut.
The microbiome, if it's in good composition, are really protecting us all the time from more invasive things.
Get the Build a Better Gut booklet, free from the Christian Broadcasting Network. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com/buildabettergut.
You need to make sure that your microbes are working with you, not against you.
And if you order online, you'll get immediate access to the Build a Better Gut series, a digital copy of the booklet, and related bonus material. Build a Better Gut today. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com/buildabettergut for your free copy.
Here, we're committed to a heritage of rigorous scholarship dating back over 1,000 years.
And to a faith tradition dating back 1,000 more.
This is how we create a culture of inquiry where no topic is off limits.
And a culture of hope.
Anything's possible!
It's Christian leadership.
And it's changing the world for the better.
It's higher learning.
It's greater knowing.
It's what makes us whole.
It's what makes us Regent.
Welcome back. California is known for wildfires and earthquakes, but in Los Angeles, there's another threat, an epic once-in-a-lifetime storm that could flood the region. It's why the Army Corps of Engineers is rushing to upgrade the Whittier Narrows Dam, because if it fails, the lives and homes of more than 1 million people would be at risk. Heather Sells brings us that story.
The Army Corps of Engineers oversees the safety of 700 dams nationwide. These giant public works protect millions of Americans from flooding, except when they fail, and then the results can be catastrophic. Right now, the Corps has 11 dams on its urgent repairs shortlist. It has approved final designs for 10. The last in the proverbial pipeline, California's Whittier Narrows Dam.
Life safety is a #1 priority. On behalf of the public, we are federally mandated to build these projects, but also maintain these projects.
But the threat is easy to ignore, at least here in Southern California, where wildfires and earthquakes are more top of mind. For most of the year, the Whittier Dam, like many in the arid Southwest, is dry. Its purpose is not to hold water back, but to slow down rushing water when a storm hits. Most of the time, that flow is manageable. But when the big one comes, everything will be on the line as waters rush from the mountains down to the Pacific.
This dam is huge, and for good reason. In the event of an epic flood, tremendous amounts of water would rush through here. Picture the equivalent of 3 Olympic-sized swimming pools per second.
Up to 1 million people could be affected in 25 cities downstream of this dam, all the way down to Long Beach and the Pacific Ocean.
It's the sheer number of people in LA that has caught the Corps' attention. Engineers say while the dam is relatively safe, given the population, it can't take chances. And even a layperson can spot the obvious wear and tear on this 60-year-old structure. Still, Army Corps engineers say that what they really must prepare for is that rare, once-in-a-lifetime monster storm.
And this is not a flood that we're expecting once in a year or once in 100 years. But we have to be prepared because we want to make sure that we're being good stewards of the dams that we operate as the Corps of Engineers.
The Corps says it got serious about reevaluating these structures after Hurricane Katrina.
The lessons that we've learned from Hurricane Katrina are much of the reason why we're trying to be proactive with all the rest of the dams within the Corps of Engineers.
The levees in New Orleans could not withstand the Category 3 storm, and when they broke, surging floodwater poured into the city. Some 1,200 people died, and the region lost over $100 billion in property damage. The Corps plans to spend $500 million to fortify the Whittier Dam, and while that's a steep price tag to prepare for an unlikely event, the Corps points to Katrina and other recent history to make its point.
One of the things that the folks in Houston learned after their experience with Hurricane Harvey is it only takes one event for something to fail.
Los Angelinos share a similar risk factor with Houston: urban sprawl. Miles of unending pavement mean that heavy rainfall has nowhere to go. If the dam failed during an epic storm, that sprawl would quickly lead to incredible flooding for nearby communities, anywhere from waist-high water to much worse. The Corps points to the city of Pico Rivera, right next to the dam, as the most vulnerable.
They estimate that we would be under 20 feet of water in the event this event happened.
Pico Rivera is working with nearby municipalities to prepare evacuation routes. Acting City Manager Steve Carmona believes that residents would have several days' notice to flee, but he's taking no chances.
It is one of our highest priorities.
It's a little shocking, a little scary, a little bit eye-opening, but it's the reality of living next to a dam and living in this part of Southern California, that flash floods can happen in a matter of hours.
The Whittier Dam has become a recreational area for the region, and many residents don't even realize its true purpose. But from the Corps' perspective, the earthen dam is vulnerable in a very severe storm to erosion underneath and even water coming over the top. It hopes to begin repairs soon and finish by 2025. But local members of Congress want an even faster timeline and are asking Washington to funnel extra funds to speed up the work. In the meantime, authorities will work to build public awareness and support for the massive project and encourage evacuation planning. This, along with assuring communities that their backyard dam is as safe as it needs to be. Reporting in Pico Rivera, California, Heather Sells, CBN News.
Still ahead, it's one of the most important parts of your body, even though you probably never realized it. We're talking about your gut. And we're going to show you how some of the foods you could be eating could be bad for your gut and your overall health.
Wouldn't it be great if you could just hop on a plane and fly to a third world country and hand out food and medicine to the needy? And wouldn't it be great if some of those people came to know Jesus as their Savior because of your help? And wouldn't it be great if you could help out people like this all around the world every day? Wouldn't that make you feel great? And what if you could do all of this without having to leave your home or write monthly checks? Well, you can. Partner with CBN and you can help spread the gospel all around the world and make it a better place. And when you sign up for Pledge Express, your contribution will be deducted from your bank account every month automatically. It's a safe and simple way to make a difference. Plus, wouldn't it be great to get life-changing teachings every month from Pat and Gordon? When you sign up for Pledge Express, you'll save time and money, and you won't just sit around and watch the world go by. You'll help change it for the glory of God. Now, wouldn't that be great?
When you care, souls are set free. When you give, lives are made new. When you share, eternal life begins. When we all come together to love, miracles happen.
Most people don't realize how important their gut is to their overall health. An unhealthy gut leads to weight gain, diseases, and all kinds of health problems. Today we're going to show you the worst things you can do to your gut. CBN News medical reporter Lori Johnson explains the ways we abuse it the most are often accidentally.
C-sections, baby formula, life-saving drugs, and convenience foods. We tend to think these things make our lives better, starting from birth. But turns out they can seriously mess up the balance of good and bad bacteria in our bodies.
So we want to keep those numbers and the composition of the microbiome right where it ought to be, in perfect harmony.
Nearly a century ago, the world rejoiced when Alexander Fleming developed the first antibiotic. Penicillin would target bacterial infections that wiped out millions. Since then, many doctors frequently turn to these so-called miracle drugs, often not considering the downside.
We know that almost all cases of bronchitis, where you cough, basically, where the large airways get inflamed with viruses, almost always it's just a virus. That's not to mean it's trivial disease, but we don't have antibiotics for 99% of them. And yet, 70% of physicians prescribe antibiotics for bronchitis.
And those antibiotics target all bacteria in our body, even the kind we need to keep us healthy.
Antibiotics are equal opportunity drugs. They'll kill the good guys as well as the bad guys.
Gastroenterologist Gerard Mullen, author of The Gut Balance Revolution, says children in particular often lack the good bacteria they need, thanks to well-meaning pediatricians, protective parents, and overprescribed antibiotics.
They're overused indiscriminately in children with earaches and sore throats because there's been linkages not only to obesity but also autoimmune diseases such as inflammatory bowel disease, where they can directly link the number of doses of antibiotics as a child to the probability of developing IBD later in life.
Studies show just one course of antibiotics can disrupt the gut microbiome for years. What's worse, antibiotics often enter our bodies without a prescription because of what we eat. A majority of the antibiotics used in our country go into animal feed.
Just in conventional red meat, that there's enough antibiotics in those, those cows that are raised on hormones and on antibiotics. Those are enough. If you eat enough red meat within a week or so, that's enough to change the microbiome unfavorably.
And science proves it. New York University researchers were able to make lab mice obese and diabetic by proportionately giving them the same amount of antibiotics found in our meat supply. So in trying to build a better gut, remember, antibiotics are enemy number one. Running a close second is the standard American diet, what's known as SAD. It's this kind of stuff, what we typically eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, plus the good that's missing from these meals.
Got to figure out first what's trashing the gut. You got to shut off the faucet and stop hurting the gut. The gut will heal itself over a long time, but you got to stop hurting it.
Consider processed foods a triple threat. They're too sweet, contain no fiber, and are chock full of strange chemicals. The Mayo Clinic's Dr. Purna Kashyap says the culprits tend to hide in the small writing on the list of ingredients.
It's good to read the fine print because there's usually a small line at the end which says emulsifiers or, additives.
Dr. Gail Cresci of the Cleveland Clinic agrees that digesting things not found in nature can cause dangerous inflammation.
And you think about processed foods, there's a lot of foreign chemicals that are in the processed foods. And these are what's called xenobiotics. So it means that it's a foreign chemical, like it's a compound. And the microbiota has to be able to deal with that.
And watch out for words ending in ose, such as dextrose, maltose, and fructose. They're added sugars, which, believe it or not, make us fat and starve us at the same time. They rob the bacteria's food supply because our body absorbs sugar before it even gets to our intestines.
Our body is very efficient in using it, which means we're going to slurp it up right away. And as a result, the bacteria then has to try to get food from our lining or other places. So it can harm us because the bacteria are now starving and they will have to rely on our gut lining to get food. Drinks which have high amounts of glucose, fructose, these are the ones which are going to sort of create an artificial state of starvation, not for you, but for the bacteria. It'll definitely give you energy, but it's not going to be good for your bacteria.
But don't think you can replace sugar with artificial sweeteners. They're just as bad, if not worse.
Different bacteria are able to take these artificial sweeteners, and then they actually are able to extract more calories from the diet, and this is linked with insulin resistance and weight gain.
So it's rhetorical that we're taking zero-calorie artificial sweeteners, which harm the gut microbiome and ultimately cause us to gain weight, when the purpose was to not gain weight.
When it comes to gut microbiome, the first 2 years set the stage for the rest of life. Believe it or not, the way a baby is born, the type of delivery, makes a big difference. So does the kind of nutrition the baby receives.
Dr. Heidi Nelson says C-sections and formula provide inferior bacteria compared with their more natural counterparts.
There is a difference between the vaginal birth and the cesarean birth because the child is, more or less sterile inside the womb, and as they deliver through the vaginal canal, it's understood that they get the microbial population from their mom, that exposure from the mother at that time, and the same type of experience would hold true for breast milk versus a bottle. You want to try to get the right bugs set up in the child.
And you can learn more about your gut health by tuning into Lori Johnson's Healthy Living program. It's tonight at 9:30 Eastern on the CBN News Channel. Coming up, how CBN's Orphans Promise has brought food and smiles to children in a small town in Mexico. We'll have that story when we come back.
It's the new Superbook Bible app. It's packed with games, activities, and Superbook episodes that you can watch for free. Oh, no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own Superbook character. Ta-da! It's the new Superbook Bible app. Free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
Young people, millennials, are flocking to church.
It's not an exaggeration to say that we love to meet them and that we love to know their stories.
Come home to the Southern Gospel Station from CBN Radio. You'll enjoy a rich Southern blend of bluegrass, classic gospel, and Southern Gospel favorites. CBN Southern Gospel. Available now at cbnradio.com.
Woohoo! Hi, Superbook fans. Here's something else you'll love. It's the new Superbook Bible app. It's packed with games, activities, and Superbook episodes that you can watch for free. Oh, no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own Superbook character. Ta-da! Whoa!
A Millsburg Falls man coming.
Sorry, pardon me. Sorry, excuse me. Ouch!
Are you getting this?
Earn super points to win daily prizes, too. And so much more! Time to get back to my adventures. See you soon. It's the new Superbook Bible app. Free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
CBN's Orphans Promise has been at work in a small town in Mexico, bringing food and putting smiles on children's faces. Gang activity, drugs, and violence are rampant in Nicolas Romero, Mexico, and many children there come from tough economic situations, so they don't get 3 meals a day. But Orphans Promise has worked with a local church to build a community kitchen that serves 800 meals every month to 200 children. The kids received healthy and nutritious meals and a little love along the way. Orphans Promise has 5 projects in Mexico and get this, more than 300 around the world. And you can find out more about what CBN is doing around the world by going to cbn.com/international. Well, that's it for today's first edition of Newswatch. You can find more on the issues you care about most at cbnnews.com and can watch CBN News programs anytime on our CBN News channel. Plus, tell us what you think about the stories you've seen here by emailing newswatch@cbn.com or talk to us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hope you'll join us next time. Have a great day.